Thank you for the report. Tonight, we've got you covered on the biggest story of the day in North Texas. Major job cuts on the way at American Airlines. Brian Curtis is anchoring our coverage live tonight from DFW Airport. Brian, what's the bottom line here?
Well, you know, Meredith, there has been a lot of talk, a lot of speculation, actually, about the impact of the American Airlines bankruptcy. Tonight, for the very first time, we have the hard numbers. Today, American's management told the airlines unions it needs to eliminate 13,000 jobs. That's about 15% of the workforce. The biggest impact will be in northern Tarrant County, where the airline plans to shut down its maintenance base at Alliance Airport. We have coverage from the hardest hit part of the community and from also here at DFW Airport. We begin with NBC5's Scott Gordon. Scott, you and I have been covering American Airlines for years together now. These cuts are absolutely staggering.
No doubt about it, Brian. Everybody was expecting cuts, but nobody predicted anything this massive. Tonight, union leaders are vowing to fight, to push for lower cuts through negotiations, and if that doesn't work, to challenge them in bankruptcy court. But tonight, it is increasingly clear that the American Airlines that emerges from bankruptcy will be a lot leaner company. For American Airlines employees like flight attendant Patrick Hancock of Dallas, their very futures are up in the air.
It's not fair, it's not right, and I'm not sure how we're going to fix this.
The airline's plans to slash at least 13,000 jobs, eliminate retiree medical care, and terminate pensions is sending shockwaves throughout the company.
We must become competitive in all areas of the company.
But an airline spokesman says the cuts are necessary to make a post-bankrupt American profitable.
This is an incredibly difficult decision to get here, and even harder to announce it to our employees.
The company delivered the news in meetings with union leaders. It was not well received.
It really is just a very, very far-reaching. It was really outrageous. It was absolutely, I'll tell you, I was completely shocked.
I think in this part of negotiations, American Airlines has to make a decision. Do they want to have 8,000 motivated pilots coming to work every day doing the best possible job for the company, or do they want to have another 10 years of fractional participation and a culture that really hasn't gotten very far?
It's going to be a major hit, and not only does it affect just the employees, it's a tremendous hit on their families, and then the families, it's a tremendous hit on the communities as well.
I love the job.
Hancock was 27 when he became a flight attendant, a career that's taken him around the world. Now 55, he thought he would retire soon, but like so many American workers, doesn't know now if he can afford it.
And the cost of living keeps going up, and then my wage is going down. I don't even know how we're going to keep going forward.
Scott, there has been so much focus on the money that American is going to save here, but let's talk about the work rules here for a second. It sounds like a lot of people are going to have to work a lot harder.
No doubt about it, Brian. There's little doubt tonight that the work rules for the employees who remain at American Airlines will be a lot different. Simply put, that means working more hours for pilots and flight attendants, and there are some categories of jobs where a lot of those jobs may end up being outsourced. We're talking about baggage handlers, maintenance workers, for a fraction of what American Airlines is paying now. American says that their competitors have already done this, and it's something they need to do to stay competitive, to be competitive.
Right. All right. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. Meredith, one of the things the company tried to stress today is that there is no part of the company that will remain untouched here. These cuts are deep, but they are also widespread. Back to you.
All right, Brian, thanks. And let's break down exactly where the cuts would come from under American's plan. The hardest hit would be maintenance workers, with 4,600 jobs eliminated. 4,200 baggage handlers would lose their jobs, along with 2,300 flight attendants. 1,400 management positions would also be eliminated, along with 400 pilots. The prospect of shuttering the Alliance Airport maintenance facility is a devastating blow for one of the fastest growing areas in Tarrant County. Since the facility opened in 1992, homes and businesses have sprung up all along the Alliance corridor. NBC5's Ellen Goldberg is live with more on the impact those job cuts may have, and it is not small, Ellen.
No, indeed, Meredith. We are here at Alliance Town Center. It is a popular shopping and dining spot for people who work at nearby Alliance. And tonight we met a man who is a mechanic at American Airlines. He left work today at 2:15. He was still here at 8 o'clock tonight, saying he couldn't bear to go home and face his family.
Wasn't going that direction.
The shock of losing his job is making it hard for American Airlines mechanic Tom Solis to find his way home. We found him stopping for a beer.
It's just kind of hard to go home and, don't know what to tell her. I mean, I don't know what to tell my wife. There's no answer. It really hurts.
AMR announced it's folding its maintenance facility at Fort Worth's Alliance Airport, leaving 1,200 people out of work.
You know, we have families, and it's like we put our heart and soul into it.
American's been conducting maintenance operations at Alliance for 23 years.
I had someone tell me today that, well, American is Alliance, and I said, no, it's really not.
American was the first tenant on the now 17,000-acre development. The president of Hillwood Properties, who developed Alliance, says American only represents about 3% of their workforce.
American was the original project at Alliance, but today Alliance is 31,000 jobs, 250 different companies, 32 million square feet, and American is just one piece of that big platform.
While American is pulling out, Hillwood will proceed with its expansion plans, announced just yesterday.
The Alliance Airport is one of the most vibrant areas. Real estate continues out in that direction, and we think that positive things are still ahead for Dallas-Fort Worth.
Try convincing Tom Salas, who can't think beyond what tomorrow holds.
Tomorrow, we don't know if we're going to be locked out. I mean, are they going to let us escort us in and get our tools, or are we going to be here another week? I mean, tell us something, because we have a family.
Now, I should point out that workers at nearby Tazel are safe. That is a joint venture between Rolls-Royce and American Airlines at Alliance. The latest reports indicate that that facility will remain open. We're live tonight in Fort Worth. I'm Ellen Goldberg, NBC5.
Thanks, Ellen. So heartbreaking for so many of our neighbors. Brian, you know, today American made official what's been expected. Brian, it sounds like American basically wants to end its pension program.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Meredith. Now, American's pension plans cover about 130,000 current employees and retirees. That is an awful lot of people. American wants to convert those over to 401k plans, but the government agency that insures pensions opposes that plan, saying American hasn't really proven that it needs to take that drastic step. CNBC's Phil LeBeau told us today he thinks American will win that fight.
At the end of the day, I think a bankruptcy court judge is going to look at this and say, you know what, we're going to force American to put some money towards the plans that the PBGC will take over, but it can't afford to take over the plans or keep the plans as they currently are structured. So as a result, I think ultimately it will fall to the federal government.
Now, the details of American's restructuring plan started coming out this morning in this letter that CEO Tom Horton sent out to all of the employees. And when you look through this, you see some pretty blunt talk. Horton's three-page letter details the fact that while American is losing money, its major competitors are making it. He outlines the blueprint for American's comeback, including buying new planes and increasing flights at airports like DFW. But much of Horton's letter focuses on massive cutbacks. He writes, there is no avoiding the fact that the cost reductions will be deep, and there is no sugarcoating the effect on our people. But Horton says some jobs must go for others to survive. We will end this journey with many fewer people, but we will also preserve tens of thousands of jobs that would have been lost if we had not embarked on this path. He also addresses speculation about a possible takeover by another airline, saying, the best way for us to assure that we are in control of our own future is to make the necessary changes, complete our restructuring quickly. Horton released a video statement to employees late today. He echoes many themes from the letter and makes it clear that without change, Americans' future is at risk.
It will take all of our dedication, focus, and energy to get this done, and I will give it all of mine, and I ask the same of each of you.
Now, in this letter, Horton did not shy away from his own responsibility in all of this. He said, I take full ownership of our business plan. Meredith, back to you.
Strong words, Brian. So we've talked a lot about cuts. Let's talk more about the revenue side of American's restructuring plan. How does the math work, Brian?
All right, here's what the company is saying tonight, Meredith. The company wants to boost profitability by cutting $2 billion. Then it wants to raise revenue by $1 billion. So that's $3 billion total. That's how the math works here. What Horton is saying is that he wants to raise revenue by adding flights to New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, DFW, and Miami by 20% over the next 5 years. Horton also says the airline will ground older planes, as it has been doing, and then buy hundreds of new ones. The bankruptcy judge has not approved those orders, but the judge has allowed AMR to take delivery of some of the jets that were already in the pipeline. Meredith, for a very long time, we have known that American is a very sick patient. Tonight, we know exactly how bitter the medicine is.
And a lot to be revealed over the coming days. Brian, thank you. NBC5's Scott Friedman broke the news of American's job cuts today. He is staying in close touch with his contacts within the company.
I'm hearing from workers, Meredith, who are just devastated and angry over this situation, especially at the Alliance Airport maintenance base, where they know now that 1,200 of their jobs are gone and their pensions may be gone too.
This has been such a long day for American and its employees. Are you hearing anything hopeful after today's announcements at all?
Well, I think the only bit of hope that the workers have is that maybe the unions will be able to negotiate and soften some of this, but I don't think they put a lot of hope in that. For the mechanics particularly, there aren't a lot of options. So many of the jobs have gone to foreign countries now. The other major airlines have cut back too, and there are some who have seniority who could move to another American Airlines base, but I'm hearing from some of them today saying, why would I pick up my family and move them across the country with what's going on in this industry right now?
All right, Scott Friedman, thanks so much for your insight today and for breaking the story.
You bet.
And as we said, NBC5 broke this story first. We will continue to bring you the latest updates as the story unfolds over the coming weeks and months.